Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the Formula Fun podcast. And it's time for our 2018 season in review. And for the first time ever on the Formula Fun podcast, we are joined by not just Rage, but Foxworth as well. How are you two doing this fine evening?
Absolutely fabulous. I've got to get it in quick because otherwise you're going to steal it.
I'm just normal, good, regular.
Just average amount of good.
Just a normal amount of fabulous.
I'm averagely good.
Good. I think that'll catch on. Good. Well, I'm glad you're both here and are well as we get stuck into our 2018 season in review. So, way this is going to work, we're going to have a little chat through how we found the season and some of the highs and lows, and then she'll get into a in-depth driver and team ratings, and then on to I think the most coveted award in motorsports, isn't it? The Formula Fun Podcast Awards.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all waiting for this.
I hear that we're sending out trophies, right?
Please don't commit to anything I can't afford. I can send empty envelopes. That's about all I can afford. Maybe one day.
I would love to see Hamilton's face. He just gets an award. What is this? How'd you get my address?
Do you really think a random package shaped like an award sent to him would get picked up and opened by him?
I didn't realise I got packages sent from me from the slums.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, we got to talk about that for a minute. I mean, how stupid can you be?
Oh, dear.
He immediately corrected himself, though. He's like,
Yeah.
well, not the slums, but
It doesn't matter when you've said it.
You've already called Stevenage the slums.
Yeah. I'm so proud of it. It's the slums, though. Fucking glad I'm not there anymore.
It's the slums, but by golly, if they got the best fans.
Yep.
everywhere has the best fans.
Surprised he didn't open his sports personality speech with it. You guys are best fans.
I got the best fans here, honestly.
I mean, you may all be sportsmen and leading TV personalities, but you're fans of me, right? I'm Lewis fucking Hamilton. No, yeah, that was silly. I'm glad he apologised, obviously.
Do you think, because the only people I've seen like criticising this is the BBC, like heavily. I've seen it heavily advertised on the BBC on social media, and stuff like that. Do you think they're kind of jumping on this to hide the fact that they cut off Billy Munger halfway through his acceptance speech?
I didn't know that. I didn't actually watch the awards, so...
Yeah.
I can't watch the awards because I'm American. I don't get your TV.
Well.
Yeah, BBC America.
I don't have cable, so...
Oh. No, it's
Yeah,
all
so Billy
wireless
Munger
over
got
there
like
now.
some kind of
Cable joke.
award for recognition.
Oh, that's...
Something to do with his legs, I assume. But so he got some award, and then he gave quite a long speech, and they thanked him for coming. He was like, "Oh, I just need to," and then they literally cut him off just as he was about to thank probably his parents. And he tried to start his sentence like 4 times, bless him, and they still cut him off. So yeah, poor guy.
Yeah,
Not only has he
not
lost
great,
his legs,
is it?
he's also lost the end of his acceptance speech.
It's I'm glad they honoured him, but yeah, it's a shame that happened. But
I hear they were only pulling his leg.
okay, that's been the 2018 podcast review. There'll be no further podcasts from now on. We're finished. It's over. Yeah, we are here to talk about the 2018 season, so I guess we better start. Good season? Average season? Amazing season?
Yeah, it was alright. Yeah, it was alright, wasn't it? It was alright.
My first full season, so I don't really have anything to compare it to.
Yeah, good. I'm glad I have you two on this podcast. Yeah, it's alright. I don't know. First season. Cool. On to the next topic. No, I think it was good. I think it was always going to be difficult to live up to the hype of this Hamilton-Vettel battle. In the end, it did peter out. But
Fight for 5.
yeah, we didn't hear that many times before, did we? Christ. Even in the like end of season montage video the F1 did was like all this Hamilton versus Vettel thing at the beginning. It's like, did you watch the end of the season? It didn't really happen, did it?
The first half it was, but you know.
No, but I think some of my wishes from before the season came true. We saw some great midfield action, as always. And we did see the Red Bull close up a bit more to Ferrari and Mercedes. And there were many races this season where it was a six-way fight. There were 3 teams in it, at least. And I think that's the direction the sport needs to go. So I think that was great to see. And I hope that continues next year because, yeah, we need more competition up front.
Yeah, we're probably gonna get a more competitive Force India, well, whatever they decide on. And
I think it's going to be pretty difficult for them to get anywhere close, but I'm sure we can leave.
But I mean, they have the money. And they've been struggling because of financial things, and so I mean, I don't think they're going to be in the front, but they might be able. Be more like a Lotus or something.
Well, I think they've already said 2020 is the season that they'll start to see the benefits of that. I think the money's come far too late to make any benefit next year. But I feel this is slipping into 2019 talk already. We can't stay on topic on this, can we? Should we just talk about anything for an hour?
When do we ever stay on topic?
Brexit. Let's talk about that. No, but I think we saw some great moments, some great fighting. I think the midfield fights were better than ever. I mean, such a competitive midfield. The fact that we saw Sauber and Toro Rosso pushed further into that midfield as well meant that from 7th down, you could never really predict which team was going to come out in the points playing positions. I think it was a really, really competitive season back there, and I think that brought a lot of the excitement from the races this year.
Yeah, honestly, like if you would lop off Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari, it would be like a really competitive field and really interesting racing.
Yeah, but I think we've got to have those premium teams, I guess they're called. That's always been prevalent in Formula One, but I think it's great to see the midfield all being close and not seeing a few cars right off the back of the grid. Although McLaren were close towards the end. Let's be honest.
Nah, perfect. Their weakest race of the season was Australia.
What, McLaren?
That's what Alonso said at the beginning. Yeah, all up from Australia.
Oh, right.
Don't worry now, boys. We can fight.
Where is he from? Sorry, wait. Did you do an Indian accent for Fernando Alonso?
Don't worry, boys.
Don't worry, we will go further from here.
We can now fight with the Banshees and stuff.
Oh.
Fernando Alonso, the first Indian Formula One driver to win a world champion.
I mean,
Do not worry. He will win. To be fair, we've had lots of Indian drivers.
To win. I know.
No, wait. I want Rage to die on this sword. Karthikeyan.
Karun Chandok.
Yep.
That's all I can remember.
A rich history of Formula One drivers. So.
They have their own track, don't you know?
Yeah, it's now a fucking wasteland.
There's going to be Arjun Maney.
There's going to be what, Fox?
Arjun Maney. He's in Formula 2.
Great. I look forward to seeing him.
He's a Haas F1 junior. But actually, Rage actually got both of them right. It is Karan Chandok and Narayan Karthikeyan, and that's it.
Thank you.
I mean, the sword to die on wasn't named 2 Indian F1 drivers. It was named these many Indian F1 drivers.
And Fernando Alonso.
Of course, yeah. It's amazing how Wikipedia have missed such a crucial bit of information about him, isn't it?
Yeah, let's update it.
Yeah, go for it. Anybody watching or listening, go and update Wikipedia.
He comes from the slums of Mumbai, just next door to Hamilton.
It's about the only place he'll be welcome at the moment. Okay, so I guess I didn't know how long this section was going to be, but I guess this long. It was a good season. We enjoyed it. Cool.
I think the midfield
Means-
battle was the best of the rest. Was a good battle this year.
Yeah, we saw
Improvement.
a lot of changes in form
Good,
throughout the season, and
Yes.
yeah, there was some standout performances in there, which I'm sure we'll get to. But
But there was still. It's probably the closest it's been between the red ones and the silver ones in a long time.
oh, absolutely,
So-
I think Ferrari had the quickest car this year.
Obviously not.
Fuck me, you not go 10 seconds without fanboying over Mercedes and Hamilton.
Whoa, I don't like Mercedes. Jesus, I'm a McLaren fanboy through and through. Just like him.
When were you a McLaren?
I've always liked McLaren, just not at the moment. You can't speak of them because they're rubbish.
Oh, it's amazing that quote unquote facts you come out with. Like, that's never been
I love it.
mentioned before, and I'm sure you've said many times you have no allegiance to a team. But yeah, McLaren,
don't.
mate, they're my favourite team.
I do like McLaren. I have always liked McLaren.
Okay,
And I have said this. I do like Red Bull as well
okay,
because they're plucky. I think those are my exact words.
okay.
Don't you remember my last rant on the Red Bulls? It went on for 10 minutes.
I must have blanked it out from my memory,
Scratched it out there with a pitchfork.
as I've done many times this season. Okay, well, let's get on to a more structured section of the show, and I feel it will push it in the right direction because this is a car crash at the moment, but we love it. We love the car crash. Right, well, let's start with the world champions, Mercedes. And let's start with the world champion himself, Lewis Hamilton. In the end, convincing winner of his 5th title.
Yes.
Do we think he went out and won that championship, or do we think Sebastian Vettel threw it away?
No. He won it straight up. There was nothing that they could have done. He didn't have what? No, he had one race retirement. Yeah, one race retirement.
Yeah, it's 1 retirement each for Lewis and Vettel.
Mechanical only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no driver error retirement. Nada. Zilch.
Yeah.
No forced error.
Yeah, I mean, his run-in from the season, it was nothing far from miraculous. I mean, the run of 4 wins in Italy, Singapore, Russia and Japan were incredible. And Vettel maybe could have taken it a bit further into the championship, but I think you're right. I think Hamilton was just on a different planet again towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I think if Vettel didn't go off in Germany, I think that's kind of where he lost his, mental strength or fortitude or whatever to go on with a championship, and then there's just mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? Because when you look at it, he was second and won in Spa in the 2 races following that. It was then from Italy onwards that he started making the really big mistakes. But so, is it the catalyst, or was it Hamilton's just sudden uptake in form? I mean, the 4 races in a row that Vettel really struggled in, Hamilton went and won all 4 of them. So was it the pressure put on him by Lewis?
I don't think any driver on the grid this year, even if they were in an equal car, could have kept up with Lewis this year. It was dominant performance almost every race. It was only the first couple of races where he struggled to get into his stride. But halfway through the season, as soon as he came back from summer, it was just complete and utter annihilation of everyone, especially his teammate as well. I'd love to see his average finishing position throughout the year because he just obliterated him.
I mean, he was, if you get rid of the retirement, he was off the podium 3 times in China, Canada and Mexico, and even then he wasn't lower than 5th. So he was top 5 every race apart from the retirement, which is, staggering. You compare that to Vettel, he was outside the podium 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. That's the difference, isn't it? It's that consistency. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that has come with Lewis from age. He's always had this unbelievable pace, but he's really learnt to be consistent over the last couple of seasons. And in a championship fight like this, it just blew Vettel away at the end of the day. Best ever? I guess.
Well, best ever season
Driver all season, yeah.
for Lewis.
Yeah.
I think it's probably Lewis's. Well, every year Lewis says it's my best ever year. No, I think his best year was 2007. And I know it was littered with mistakes, but his rookie year for me was always his best year. I think of the modern V6 era, yes, it's the best year. Because I think you have to compare years with eras, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you can't really compare things outside of the rule, regulations. So I think of the current, span of however long, 2015, 2014, I think it's probably the best he's performed, mechanically and error-wise. I can't think of another year where he's done better or had better luck, or had more luck than what he's had this year. If he didn't win it, then he was an idiot. I think, yeah, I can't think of any other years that he was better than this. Even 2008.
Yeah, it's difficult. The pressure that he had with that rivalry with Rosberg, I feel demands more out of a driver and is more testing. So I would kind of say his opening championship in 2014 with Mercedes against Rosberg, where they went so close to the end, and it was mechanical issues really with Rosberg that put him back. I kind of feel that was, and also he hadn't had this ride of confidence and of form that he's now on. I feel that was slightly better that season, but yeah, I can't fault him this year. Any thoughts? Final thoughts on Hamilton's season, Fox?
I mean, if you look at where Bottas finished, I mean, 5th, and if we're assuming that he drove the car decently, maybe like on an average level, then Hamilton way outperformed the car. And so I do think that he faced a lot of challenges throughout the year. I mean, kind of, I don't know. I feel like for me, Germany was kind of a turning point in the season, because Hamilton went from an all-time low from going out of qualifying in Q2 because of a mechanical issue to winning the race. And sort of, I feel like that was a, I guess Vettel went on to do decently the next 2 races, but I feel like that was a pure victory and an actual victory for Hamilton. And
yeah, it was a similar race to and turning point to Singapore last year, wasn't it? Where he was out of hope, out of luck. Vettel looked unstoppable, and then it's a retirement versus a 25 points, and what that must do to a driver's confidence. So yeah, I think it's a pretty great season. And yeah, I would agree with Ray's earlier comments. Pretty much unstoppable towards the end of the season. And even if Vettel hadn't have made his mistakes, I still don't think he would have got close. All right, let's slap a rating on him. I would say it's a near perfect season, so I'd give him a 10.
I guess I'd give him I don't know, a 10. I don't know. I don't see any fault with it. Yeah.
Rage?
Out of 10? Out of 10?
No, it's out of 160. Stupid question. Yeah, go.
I don't think it was ever perfection, so I'm going to give him a 9.
Spoken like a true Hamilton fan. Also, his favourite comment of the season. Well, it's not. I'd never quite get the perfect lap, but half a second quicker than the rest of them. I guess it was all right. Right.
That's Singapore lap though. That was the perfect.
That
lap.
was insane. Yeah. Yeah. That was a great weekend and a great lap from him.
That's one of the laps that's going to be remembered and watched by people many, many years in the future.
Yeah.
Almost like a Senna. Is it 81 or 82 around Monaco?
Add on 6 years.
It must be 88 or 89.
88 or 9, not 89. Yeah, I can't remember which.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got my ones and my nines mixed up. They're the
I
same,
don't
just
think
with a loop
Ayrton
on the
Senna
top.
was in
That's all right.
F1 82.
Okay. Valtteri Bottas.
Oh, we're going by team, not by order?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. We'll go through teams and then give the team rating and move on down.
Cool.
He was pretty strong at the beginning of the season. If you take Australia out of the picture, a string of second places, and was looking okay at halfway through the season, and then, well, I think that there's one statistic that speaks for Valtteri Bottas this season, isn't it? 0 wins. Although, are we counting? I thought it was Hungary, but it's not Hungary. It was Russia, wasn't it? He had to move out of the way.
Oh, for the team orders?
Yeah, was it Russia?
Yeah.
Russia.
Yeah. So I guess, well, it's still not a win on the cards, but he had to move over and.
Wow, this is total. Valtteri, do you mind getting out the way? Lewis is faster than you.
No, he was nursing a left rear blister.
He's got a left rear blister, I promise. I mean,
Tires are fucked.
The tires.
Yeah, that was quite a moment this season, wasn't it? Obviously, minus that whatever that accent was. I don't remember that during the race. But... it was him really backing himself into that corner of being second fiddle and being the wingman. Yeah, well, yes. Yeah, I would agree with you this season. He has been pretty shit, but there has also been very defining moments that could have changed his season around. He could have won 2 or 3 races that season, which would have changed his season around when you think that adds 30, 40 points to the equation. All of a sudden, he's much closer to Vettel, isn't he? So, it's a difficult one. He's got one more year, really, to show any kind of fight towards Hamilton, because I can't see Mercedes being the kind of team, as much as it's harmonious in that team at the moment, I can't see them being the kind of brand and the kind of team that will want someone that is just going to follow Lewis around and never win a race. I think they want, especially with what is sure to be a renewed challenge from Red Bull next year, and for the seasons to come, they're going to want 2 number 1 drivers again, I think. So, but yeah, it was an really average season from him. Consistent, but just never quite the speed or the fight in him.
Yeah. I think that if he won in Azerbaijan, I feel like that would have just changed his fortunes. Because, I mean, he started off on really bad luck, and then he came back with Bahrain and China. And then he was about to win Azerbaijan, and then last lap blowout. And then, I mean, he had a lot of bad luck throughout the year. I feel like if he just forgets... he got rid of all his bad luck in 2018. There's no possible way that he could have bad luck in 2019, right?
That's not how Lady Luck works. Who knows? Some people say you make your own luck. And he was the one that ran over that debris in Baku. I think that's a bit harsh. But, I mean, there's a lot of second places there. It doesn't take much to convert them, but I feel the damage has already been done this season. I think you forgive him for a first season. He showed some brilliance in last season and some good wins, but I think he's just set the scene now. I can't see any driver, especially Valtteri Bottas, coming back from that to suddenly challenge Lewis for a title. I think it's going to happen. So it could be the ending of a career at the top for Bottas unless he shocks everybody next year.
I think he can. I believe in Bottas.
Okay. Good to know someone does. As much.
I wasn't very impressed with Bottas this year, to be fair. Given the car he's got, pretty less than impressive season from someone who really should be doing better, especially with the season he's a couple of years ago. He's shown how good he was in the Williams. Yeah, I don't know. Not really on the ball. Don't know why though, because I think he's got the pace, but I don't understand why he can't turn it on. I do not know. I do not know. Yeah, I don't know. I rate him a 5.
I'd give him a 6. I'd give him a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt because there was quite a lot of podiums and a few races he could have won, but yeah, no better than that.
I'm gonna give him a 4.
Wow.
Yeah, I do believe in him.
It
But
says the man. I've got loads of trust in him.
I believe in him, but he's getting a fucking 4.
I'm just saying that he needs to forget this year. Like, this is not a good year, especially with the car that he was given. It's not a good year.
No, absolutely.
Unless Hamilton is literally God in that car and wins the championship. Like, he came in 5th. Anyways.
Yeah, it's a long point. 100.
5th, Jamie. I'd emphasise that
Just
in case Fox wants me.
Just because you've lost one of your memes doesn't mean you can instantly force another one.
Fucking 8.
You can't say it anymore.
12.
It doesn't work.
Oh.
Not the same.
Formula E is probably what you want to say now.
Formula E.
Fucking Formula E.
Going completely off context. Did we watch it?
Yes.
Did you watch it? What did you think?
Thought it was a good race.
I thought it was a good race.
Yep. I watched the last 10 minutes because, it was like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Massa got a penalty.
There's a lot of penalties. Both the
Massa got a penalty.
I know he's doing well as well. He works his way back up to about 7th or 8th, and then
I'm
got
Team
the penalty.
Massa this year. But Jean-Eric Verne is so fast.
He's insane. Such a talent.
Really good.
Such a talent. Last year's champion, of course. And the fact that him and his teammate both got drive-throughs because of the over excessive use of the power, and still finished second and almost won the race. Is
And
insane.
don't their cars look really good?
Yeah, I think they look awesome.
They look really good, and they look racy as well, and they look like they can properly push in them.
Yeah, they definitely seem a lot quicker and better to drive than last year. And is that
Are there pit stops now?
no?
Like for tires?
No, so it's just one through the race, but they don't have to change cars now, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Van Dorn down in 17th or whatever.
Yeah, he was doing really well.
He went back 12 places or something.
Yeah, I know.
ridiculous. I was just like, oh no. He must be thinking, it followed me. The curse.
Well, no, he actually he out qualified his teammate. That's probably what shook him.
I'm not sure what actually happened with him.
He was just terrible. No.
But anyway.
I saw on Twitter he said that there was like some issues with the car, but we figured it out and we'll be better next weekend or next
Will
race.
you?
Okay. Well, we'll wait and see, Stoffel. 8. No.
I will laugh my fucking head off if his number on the car is 8.
Let's get in touch.
Oh, anyway, let's move on to the next car.
Yeah,
We
so
can't-
Mercedes as a team, I would say they were near flawless. I can't see any big mistakes from them. The only thing I would maybe hold them back on is the decision to make Lewis overtake Valtteri in Russia.
I think that like beat up Toto quite a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, but they've been through this before with team orders and stuff, and they should know better by now. I don't. I'm not someone that admires them for coming out afterwards and going, "We got that wrong." It's like, but you made the decision. So I'd knock them half a point for that. So I'd probably say 9.5 for me.
Whoa, I wouldn't go as high as 9. You've got to remember, Valtteri was rubbish.
We've done Valtteri.
So
We're doing Mercedes.
I know, but it's got to be a combination
exactly.
of both
No, this
drivers.
is a team.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
team
so
also
exactly.
made really bad decisions at the beginning of the season with the pit stops under virtual safety car. So you've got to take in everything. So I'm going to give it a 5. No, 7.
Okay. Fox.
I was gonna go with 8.
8.
8.
Okay. I'll explain my reasoning a little bit there. I feel they had the slower car for the majority of that season, and they still walked the Constructors and the Drivers' Championship. That is team. Absolute essence of a team. Got them through that.
Yeah.
I think as a
I was
unit, they are brilliant.
I was giving it an 8 because they had the slower car all season, and they should have made a better car.
You see, but if you still win a championship with a slower car, that's, it's Lewis
They won a
and the team.
championship. Yeah, they won a championship with Lewis Hamilton.
Okay, well,
Which I gave it 10.
well, we're all allowed our own opinions on this, so they are our opinions. Sebastian Vettel, billed as being this big hyped battle, as we've talked about, between Hamilton and Vettel this season, and pitted out towards the end because of Vettel's mistakes. Let's not forget he was pretty poor early in the season as well. You got a run there of China, Azerbaijan and Spain, 8th, 4th and 4th. Just horribly inconsistent this year. But moments of absolute brilliance as well. And you've got to say. Any thoughts on Vettel?
I didn't see much brilliance.
Care to elaborate, or are you going to be very short as normal?
I don't know. Well, elaborate on your moments of brilliance first.
I think Silverstone was one of the best races I've ever seen him do. His overtake to get past Bottas when the strategy put him back out of the race. He was superb. First 2 races of the season he was flawless. His overtaking was much better this year than it's been before.
Not the whole year.
But no, not the whole. That's why I say moments of brilliance.
I think he needs to take a step back and have a good, long, hard look about what he really wants in Formula One. Because whatever he's doing right now with Ferrari is obviously not working. Whether it be the manager side of Ferrari, or whether the way he's working with his team, or whether it's the way that he's working himself to try and achieve the same as Lewis, there's something not quite clicking, which is clicking for Lewis but isn't clicking for Vettel.
There's definitely something not right there. Yeah,
whether it's the ethos of the team, whether it's his problem that he needs to look at, that he had right at the beginning and then slowly pitted off towards the end of the season. I think you're right, he did have some good times, but the end of the season was just... Although he did get quite a few points, granted, it was horrifically awful. The amount of, whether it be his fault or not, but the whole contact issue, trying to come back through the field because he knew the only way he was going to be able to get in front of, or win a race, was to try and get in front of the Mercedes, rather than just... I just the lack of patience behind a car, or just the stupid quick decisions he made to overtake people in ridiculous places. He should know better. He's a 4-time world champion, and to do things what he did this year is not going to win him his 5th champion. The 5 for 5.
No, I would absolutely agree. He was diabolical towards the end of the season, and he needs to really take the this winter. Not Australia, are we? To really think about it and come back. Really needs to prove himself next year, and he's going to have a bloody challenge on his hands with Leclerc in the other car. So, any comments on Vettel, Fox?
Actually, moving on with the Leclerc comments, he actually says that it's not going to be an issue. So we'll see if that holds up. But I think you're right. The first part of the season, he was brilliant. I mean, the Bahrain drive with worn tires against Bottas. I mean, was it really a challenge? But anyways, but yeah, there's definitely moments of brilliance. I feel like I'm just copying, but yeah, he definitely tapered off near the end. All those spins. I feel like he kind of got onto got into a better state of mind near the end of the season. But yeah, he's gonna have to fix his own mistakes. As much as we'd like to make fun of and blame Ferrari strategies, it's not just Ferrari strategies.
No, I'd agree.
The Vettel I want to see next year was the Vettel that we saw in China, and the Vettel that we saw in...
the Vettel we saw in China?
Not the Vettel we saw in China. What race was it that he beat everyone because he took a pit stop when it was virtual safety car? He made the decision to come in. Australia. Didn't it happen again in China?
No, that's the Red Bulls.
Was the Red Bulls that did it?
Yeah, Vettel got taken out by Verstappen in China, and then
of course he did.
Red Bulls won,
Anyway,
and he then lost out
that's
to
what
Alonso
Vettel's good
and
at, though.
Hulkenberg.
Shut up. That's what he's good at, though. He's good at thinking on his feet, and he questioned himself more times, I think, this year. He needs to think on his feet, and he needs to work out his strategy. He's a master of strategy, and that's what he needs to play on. Maybe he was relying too much on the team.
I think that's the big issue. I think it's this relationship between Ferrari and Vettel for me. It's causing him to put the pressure on himself because maybe he's not getting the support that he's seen at Red Bull and he sees Hamilton getting at Mercedes. I think it's quite it's a notoriously a very difficult environment to be in. There's arguably only one man that's ever managed to gel that team in its history. Maybe two in Lauda and... Well, Lauda basically just led that team. And Schumacher, obviously. And I think he's struggling to do the same. I think it's an incredibly difficult team. And despite all their improvements, Ferrari, they're without championships since 2008. They're not born winners anymore.
You've got to take a good hard look at yourself, you bastards.
Exactly. I need to get you in there for an afternoon.
I'll be so sheepish. Hello. See, senor.
Oh, that's a lovely Ferrari mess, isn't it? I'd give Vettel a 7 just because of the end of the season.
6.
I'll give him an 8.
Okay. Kimi Räikkönen, everyone's favourite walking drunk meme.
He's turned into such a meme now.
He really has. I mean, I feel anything positive you say about him has got to be taken with a pinch of salt, considering it's almost like we're saying the positives because of his age at this point. You know, any other driver that season, it wouldn't have been as impressive a season as it was, but I feel he was brilliant this season. Really, really found some of that form again. And some of his outright speed. Obviously, he was pretty terrible in qualifying for the first 7 or 8 races, which spawned a pretty amazing animated video. I can't remember the name of it, but one of him just, in qualifying in Sector 1 purple, Sector 2 purple, Sector 3 shit. Just like the whole first half of the season, he would just screw it up at the last moment, but in the second half and his consistency during the middle of the season, he was back towards somewhere near his old best, I feel.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know why I bother. Shall I just do this on my own? This podcast?
I think he had a good season. I think he knew his time was up and he was having fun.
Yeah, but that in turn has made him even more of an exciting prospect for Sauber next year because he's found that form again, without a doubt.
Yeah,
and he's, you'd have to consider his age in this kind of sport. What he's still doing is if he'd had that kind of season 3 or 4 years ago in a Ferrari, potentially could have won a world championship. It was. Yeah. I feel he was much improved, and it was, USA was so special. I feel.
Just
to see him go
I think that was might have been my race of the season. Just the sheer awesomeness of seeing Verstappen and Hamilton battling and Raikkonen and the Raikkonen fake out with Hamilton. It was great. It was a good race.
Yeah, he was on absolutely top form and had 2 different drivers and 2 different manufacturers that are rated as 2 of the fastest drivers in F1 trying to get past him on a track that's pretty easy to overtake, and he managed to hold on and win that race. So, yeah, I think it was a great season for him, but I still feel that you've always got to do that pinch of salt of it's great because he's nearly 40.
It's Kimi Räikkönen, not just anyone.
No, I know. I'd have to give him. I'd give him an 8.5 for this season.
I will concur.
I'll go with 9 then.
Okay.
Whoa!
I don't like these half points.
I don't do half measures, bitch.
I'm keeping my options open to slot people in. You see, I've learned from last year. Everybody got
I am
everybody
keeping
got a
track of
9.
these, by the way.
I'm
You
sure.
writing these down?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
He's making a
I'm
list.
sure. I almost
I'm-
asked if we, or I was going to as well, but in the back of my mind, I knew you probably would.
Yeah.
The interesting one with this, as with last year, is whether our driver of the year matches up to our ratings. I think last year we both
Well-
Hamilton 10, driver of the year. No, not Hamilton.
Well, there's different reasons why you can choose a driver of the year, and I mean, like Hamilton is rating 10 because he won the championship and he was near perfect. But I mean, you can't win everything. I mean, there can be other drivers who show brilliance, as we might discuss.
Very true. Very true. Ferrari as a whole, I think strategy and whatever is causing this rift with, and I think almost forgot the most important mistake Ferrari made this year, which was Monza and telling Kimi Räikkönen he was fired just after he'd got pole, which caused him never to let Vettel pass. And let's not forget that race was the beginning of a run of some pretty awful races for Vettel. So I feel that's got to be factored in as well.
Oh, suddenly you don't have a wingman, eh?
I wonder what would cause that. I'd give him. I'd give him some kudos for having definitely one of the quickest, probably the quickest car, but the mistakes and those decisions and this sort of internal rift that's going on drag him down for me. So I'd give him an 8.
It's tough though. I think they had a tough time with upgrades this year. I think they probably tried to do a few things with their power unit, the electric recovery, and I think the FIA clamped them back on a lot of their upgrades, whether it was through the internal politics and lots of cars vetoing their upgrades and saying it's illegal and blah blah blah. I'm not too sure. We'll never really hear about that until certain drivers and mechanics have retired and we read about it in books. But I think that probably was a massive factor. A lot of stuff went on behind the scenes, which is probably kind of like payback, because Ferrari are probably always the first team to complain about something if something looked illegal. So yeah, I feel that they had a bit of a tough ride of it. Some terrible strategic calls from Ferrari. So yeah, I'm going to give them a 6.5.
Wow. Okay. Pulling their own punches.
Yeah.
Fox.
Yeah, I think it'd be like a 10 for the car, maybe 9 because of some of the upgrades and stuff. But the strategy is like a 5, so I'm gonna like average it out to like a 7.
Okay, I think we're all agreed room for improvement from Ferrari.
Yes.
Must try harder.
Yeah, had the quickest car, but still sevens and 6s across the board. Okay, let's move on to the Red Bull boys, and we will start, because of championship position, with Max Verstappen. Pretty shocking start to the season, and a lot questioning. Once again, his motivation and his temperament, with notably bad mistakes in Azerbaijan and China. But yet again found his form towards the end, and yet again we were all just sitting back in amazement at what that kid can do. Because Brazil and Mexico were masterclasses. I'm counting Brazil as a win. Obviously, it wasn't, but
Yes.
the pace he showed in both those weekends on tracks that really shouldn't suit the Red Bull in its current form was he's going to be something to behold next year if Honda get their act together. But pretty awful towards the beginning of the season. Think a growing up season for Max Verstappen.
The beginning was awful. Max Crashstappen comes to mind.
Good one.
Good gag.
Classic joke.
Absolutely brilliant joke. Great gags.
Do you work at Autosport? My goodness.
Is that an American joke? I don't know.
Also sport the British magazine. No,
I'll do it. Oh, I don't know.
you referencing their truly awful YouTube videos.
Me?
No.
I don't know. I don't-
Oh, you've no idea why you made that joke. You didn't even realise it was a joke.
No, I was making fun of the media for constantly, and I just thought of like the first media outlet that I could think of. It was more of a media joke than an Autosport joke, to be honest.
Oh, poor Autosport getting dragged
feel
into
we-
it by association.
We've killed the Autosport joke.
I'm sorry, I was just going alphabetical.
I was just going after the most well-known one that I know. I'm sorry. Be less well-known.
Yeah, go under the radar and you won't be made fun of. Yeah, I mean, it was just a season of two halves for him, without a doubt. I think we can't ignore the beginning of the season, so I'd probably go 7.5 for Max.
He's got a lot of learning, a lot of growing up to do still. As you still forget the fact that he's he's really quite young. He's very naive. I think he's a bully.
Yeah, let's not forget Brazil
Generally.
afterwards.
I don't like his personality as a person in certain instances, but you need to be that to be a Formula One world champion. But I don't think anything of like he did in Brazil is welcome in sport these days, at least on the main stage. So for that reason, he's going to get a 5.
I really thought you were going to say for that reason he's out.
Gets a 0.
Okay, and Fox.
Yeah, obviously the first half season was, a lot of mistakes and stuff, crashing. And I feel like the second half was really good, but I mean, I feel like Hamilton wouldn't have had that crash with Ocon and stuff. So I still feel like while he did do better the second half, I still feel he has a lot of learning to do. So I'm going to give him 7.
Okay. I think very valid points there. Learning season for him, and despite what I said in that podcast, I think you're right. I think his temper and the things he's shown this season have less of a place in F1, but I still like seeing it because it makes it interesting. And I think it's going to be some pretty incredible seasons to come with him. He's going to be part of F1 history for a long time. Right, Daniel Ricciardo exiting Red Bull, announcing it midway through the season to go to Renault next year, and I think his performances, along with his incredible retirement record this season, kind of went to boot. 2 podiums for Daniel Ricciardo in 2018.
It's not enough.
Both
Not
were
good.
wins.
Yep, they are both wins. I will give him that, and it's the same amount of wins as Max Verstappen, and more than Raikkonen and Bottas in much quicker cars. So the brilliance was still there. They both were in the first half of the season. I think the retirements and the decision to move to Renault probably factored to some of his bad results towards the end of the season. But he never really seemed to have the pace of Max towards the end. Do we think that's because of that decision to move to Renault and him being fed up, or do you think he is just struggling to catch to Max in terms of pace?
I genuinely think that he wasn't giving the correct support since he announced his departure from the team. So financially, from the actual team itself, I think a lot of the performance upgrades or a lot of the help and emphasis was probably put towards Max as first, and then Daniel after. He was probably left out of a lot of the technical talks towards the end. How many retirements? Was it 8 or 9 retirements?
8.
8 retirements. 8 retirements.
That's a classic meme.
It can't all be luck. 8 retirements can't all be luck. That's like just under half of the season.
Staggering, really.
It's massive.
Cars
So
curse.
yeah, I feel so bad for him. But he will. Yeah, he will. I think he'll be better mentally at Renault. But yeah, bless him. I don't know what I can really give him for this year. It was one to forget. He got 2 wins, all right? He got 2 wins.
Well, that's
There's gonna be
we've got to
bias here.
mention the wins in China and Monaco in true Daniel Ricciardo style were absolutely heroic.
The Monaco win was up there with the wins of the greats. It was, and still is staggering how he could get that car. Yeah, it's Monaco. Yeah, you can't overtake, but he was like seconds slower than some of the competition. So, I think just because of the performances when his car was working well, I think he would have got an 8. But because of the lack of performance, I can't take away much from him. So I'm going to give him a 7.
Yeah, I'd have to give him 7 as well. I think he was struggling towards the end of the season. I think there's reasons, and the 2 wins drag him above a poor season. But again, you still, I still feel taking out those technical talks, blah blah blah. I still don't think it factors enough into how poor a finish to the season he had. But those 2 wins were heroic, so that gives me a 7 for me. And for you, Fox?
See, like if you look at where he retired, Austria, Max won. USA, Max came in 2nd, I believe. Mexico,
Correct.
Max won. And he was running in like podium places in a lot of those races, or could have been. I feel like he was definitely hampered by the obviously the 8 retirements and stuff. But I did see a lot of good things from him this season. And kind of as a consolation, because he's not going to be on the podium next year, I'm going to give him a 9.
Okay, the pity vote from Fox.
How do you know he's not going to be on the podium next year?
come
I've heard
on.
good things.
Come on.
Let's be real here, guys.
Maybe in Baku.
Monaco, you never
Well,
know.
yeah. He is an absolute master around there, as it would seem. We'll see. That Renault was impressive this year, but being impressive in the midfield and catching the likes of Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes are 2 very different things. So,
Technically, they won the B class championship.
they did,
With
absolutely.
Nico Hülkenberg.
And I'm sure we can...
Well, I mean, are they part of the B class though? They are a constructor.
Well,
They are a works team.
they're a works team, yeah. They're, yeah, I mean that... Yeah, but we still class them in that group, don't they? You know, the best of the rest of the teams that aren't as quick as the front 3. It's not necessarily whether they can work teams or not. But you would expect if anybody was to emerge out of those teams, it would be them.
Red Bull isn't a works team.
No, exactly.
They will be.
Yeah.
Very, yeah, but touche.
Ish.
Yeah, ish.
Not their own engine, but yeah, they have a works engine, I guess. Yeah, you know, maybe they are. I don't know.
Maybe the engine will work next year.
Whoa, banter!
Actually, I think you'll find Toro Rosso were pretty quick in a straight line towards the end of the year. Okay, and Red Bull as a whole, I think they continued to be the punchy underdogs of the title fight, but they're still missing a lot of straight line speed, which is hurting them. But they let their drivers fight. As always, we saw some bold strategy calls from them, and they're always a fun and exciting team, so I can't really see going below an 8 for them, personally.
This is for the team. They are the masters of strategy, and I don't think they put anything wrong there. A lot of people who are massive Danny Ricciardo fans aren't very happy with them. But, you know, is it necessarily their fault? It's always... F1's always such a, like, oh, you know, is a conspiracy as there isn't. I love people always so quick to jump on a conspiracy bandwagon. But why would someone hamper a team like that? You know, they got so much money invested in the car. I think they did okay. I'm not sure if they're 8 worthy. Not 8 worthy. Let's do 7.5.
Okay. 7.5 from Rage. And Fox, final thoughts on Red Bull and the score?
See, I think if we look at Red Bull and then we look at their faults, which is the Renault engine, I feel like a lot of their faults came from Renault, which is not necessarily their fault. So I'm actually going to give Red Bull a 9.
Okay.
I think that they had good strategy. They have a good chassis. I mean, maybe it'll be a McLaren effect where they'll put a Honda in the car and it'll just explode every weekend anyways. And it's not necessarily Renault's fault.
Well, that's the big question, and I'm sure we'll discuss that at length
Yeah.
in 2019, but is whether that Honda engine has been pushed as hard as it's going to be by Red Bull in that tour or so. But no, I'd agree that, their lack of the speed they're missing can be gained by putting a Ferrari or a Mercedes engine in it. So in that case, they're doing everything right from their hands. But they're still the ones deciding to use a Renault engine. Obviously, they've changed that now. But I feel they're fair ratings. Right, next in the constructors were Renault. So we shall move on to the top of the Renault drivers, Nico Hülkenberg. Personally, I think probably his strongest season in Formula One. Best of the rest, with an unbelievable amount of retirements again. I think 7 retirements from him this season, far more than Carlos Sainz, and a lot of people's.
No podium though.
I mean, that's just a written rule at this point. I can confidently predict Nico Hülkenberg will not get a podium next year either. It's just one of those horrible facts. We'll see. But in terms of
He's
his...
doomed to be like the most underperforming driver, but one of the drivers with the most skill on the grid. I really don't want him to be that statistic anymore. It's so sad.
There's a lot of parallels between him and Martin Brundle. Brundle was known throughout his career as the driver with the podiums without a win, and Hülkenberg's the performances without the podiums.
He so deserves it. I'm going to go fucking skits when I see that he actually gets a podium. When he gets a podium, I'm going to run around and eat my pants.
Which is what you normally do after a Formula 1 race, so you'll have to do something else afterwards to top it. No, well, we didn't enjoy that.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said. You broke up.
Nothing.
Wait, pants means underwear, right?
Yeah,
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
I'm
I
the
was
garment.
like eating an entire pair of blue jeans.
Could I please have some salt? Maybe some sauce?
I think if you manage to eat some underwear, to be honest, it's not much more of a stretch to some jeans. You're already doing something that you really shouldn't be. And your body will...
Depends whose underwear you're eating.
I'm pretty sure your body will... Okay. I mean, I feel like it needs explanation, but I don't want to pry. Right. Yeah, a good season for him. Best of the rest, and considering there was a lot of talk of him versus Sainz this year, with Sainz's first full season in the team, and the fact that he got so many more retirements, that there was no element of luck in him completely demolishing Sainz. So, yeah, great performance from him. Great points all. And it's going to be incredibly interesting to see him up against Daniel Ricciardo next year. I would have to give him... I'd give him a 9 this year.
I think he did all right. He's the best of the rest, and he's like the plucky one that you want to win, but then he never puts himself in the best position to win. But he did retire a lot. I don't know. 8. Why not?
Okay, it's an 8 from Rage. Fox?
I don't know. I feel like there wasn't any magnificent drives that he ever I don't know if he was really a talking point. Obviously, he came best of the rest, but I don't remember anything like magnificent from him.
Because they never show it though, do they? They never put it in. It never gets screen time.
The thing is,
I guess
the midfield this year had a very consistent theme, which was there were drivers on certain weekends, or every weekend there was a driver in the midfield or a couple of drivers that really outperformed the rest. And unfortunately, that meant that they were off in no man's land between the midfield and the front six. So you didn't really see much of it. But that's where Hülkenberg was a lot of it. And he was there. Him, I would say, him, Magnussen and Leclerc all had those weekends where they just disappeared from the midfield. And that's when you know that they put in a special weekend. But you don't notice it because it's just a 6th place or a 7th place. But he had a lot of them this season. That reflects in mine anyway. Also 69. Well, hey. Sorry, I had to.
I guess. Oh, okay, gotcha. I guess I'll agree with Rage. I don't think he's as good as a 9, but I think he's better than a 7, so I'll go 8.
Okay, cool. And his Spanish teammate, Carlos Sainz.
Hey, Carlos. Oh,
It was a bit.
I expected more.
Yeah, I think we all did. I think it was a bit disappointing. He had some great strategy calls this year, personal strategy calls, and some great races where he made the tyres last really long or did something different, stayed out a lot longer and jumped a lot of positions. But I think it's his qualifying that mostly let him down. Just that raw speed that we all thought he had in abundance wasn't quite there. So
It's funny how these drivers can have like such really good seasons and then such bad seasons. It doesn't make sense, does it?
no, it's difficult, isn't it? We always forget how much of a pressure cooker Formula One is, and all the factors that can go into having the good weekend. So there could be other factors. I don't think he's suddenly become a terrible driver, but he just didn't stack up to the pressure against Hulkenberg, did he?
Mm. I'd love to see Hulkenberg in a proper quick car.
Oh, same.
Like a Red Bull.
But we get the next best thing next year. We get a truly talented and proven race winner alongside him, which is probably the first time in his career he's had that. So we're really going to see what he's made of next year. But I'd have to give a 6 to Sainz.
I would agree. 6 as well.
Well, Sainz is probably my favorite driver, so I'll just give him a 7.
he was pretty.
Your favourite,
He was
why?
pretty shit, but I love him, so he's a 7 for me.
Well, yeah, he
How come
wasn't
he's
as
your
good as what?
How come he's your favourite?
He's one of my favorites. I just like Spanish things, and like I also like Sergio Perez and stuff because I'm minoring in Spanish and stuff.
See.
As soon as an American driver gets in there, they'll be my favorite driver. But until then,
Am I missing something? What's the link between Spain and Mexico?
They speak
Do
Spanish.
they? Okay.
yeah.
I don't know.
Which one were you confused about?
Every time I hear Mexicans, you know.
What the outcry of Spanish that they just jump into?
Oh, okay, never took with me. I don't care much for the Mexicans, so I have no idea.
I don't, one doesn't care very much for the Mexicans, quickly here.
Stick that on a t-shirt.
Too many non-t-shirts that come out of this podcast.
I've got to put the effort in to get an audience, and then we're away. We can just make a small, dedicated audience. We can make a living off t-shirts. We have plenty of ideas. Yeah, that's all our ratings for Carlos Sainz. Renault as a whole, obviously best of the rest. Obviously the factor, as mentioned, does go in that they are a works team with their own engine, with a huge budget behind them, so you would expect them to improve. So do we think they improved
I think they did
enough?
amazingly well. For how many years is it since they started? As in, of the recent guys, 2 years?
This is the third, I think, isn't it?
Third year.
15, 16, 17? Or 16, 17, 8?
I think it's 16, 17, 18.
Was it?
I can't remember them in 2016. F1, 2016.
They were definitely in 16.
Grid.
Because
team.
Palmer was 2 years, wasn't he? And left.
Teams and drivers.
Renault F1 started in...
This is their third season, I think.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Because it was Perez. No, sorry, it was
Palmer and Hulkenberg for 2 years.
Palmer and... No, K-Max didn't drive for Renault,
There's
did he?
K-Mag, yeah. K-Mag and Hulkenberg was... No, K-Mag and Palmer, yeah.
Yeah. I'm on your favourite publication, Fox.
Autosport.
Yes.
2016, 2017, 2018, yeah.
Oh, do you remember Felipe Nazar? Where did he go?
He's an IMSA.
Rio Harriento! Hello! Didn't he get replaced? Halfway through the year.
Yeah, by Esteban Ocon, yeah.
Rio Haryanto. Anyway, enough of that. So yeah, 3 years. I don't know. I think they did all right. 7. 7.
Yeah, I'd say they did well, but I would expect it because of the budget, so I can go higher than 7 either.
I'm gonna go 5.
Woo.
They beat my favorite team. No, yeah, they I don't know. The first half of the season they did really well. They slotted into the best of the rest, and then they kind of just drifted there for a while. And like the last couple races they picked it back up, but they were just nowhere in like Japan and Singapore and stuff. Like they a lot of those races in between the halfway point and the end of the season, they just were nowhere. So they could do a lot better, and they probably will.
There's a lot of prejudice because of Haas there, isn't there?
Let's
not lie.
A lot of bias.
I already said that they're getting a 5 because they beat my favorite team, but it's...
You wouldn't get that kind of bias with me, would you, Jerry?
Go back to the slums.
They welcome me with open arms. Stevenage, come to me.
I don't get what Stevenage is, but I'm assuming that it's pretty
It's the
nice.
oldest town in Britain.
It's Hamilton's hometown.
Well, yeah, I got that part. I don't know what Stevenage is because I don't know anything about Britain.
Whoa, we like tea and crumpets and such. Pip pip, toodaloo.
Yeah, but it doesn't tell me anything
Beer
about
and-
Stevenage, does it? Let's be fair.
It doesn't. I love it that he says he's from Stevenage, but he's not from Stevenage, is he?
Is he not? That would make my day
No.
if he's not actually from Stevenage.
Because don't you remember Ogles and El Gibbo? Sorry, these are our old league friends. They said that they are from the Stevenage area, and they know that he didn't used to live in Stevenage. He lives in a different town that neighbours Stevenage, but is actually really a richer area.
I did not know this. So to him, Stevenage was the slums.
Yes, it was. It's like, shit, I've missed my stop, and now I'm in the slums.
Oh God, I'm in Stevenage.
Bollocks! I'm in Stevenage.
Oh. Where's he actually from then?
No idea. The slums, apparently.
Good.
I've
Okay,
heard.
I've got that wraps up.
Let's see where it's listed. Just continue.
Okay, I'm not sure who to do next because technically, 5th place in the championship would have been Force India.
Why technically?
Nope, Haas.
Incorrect.
We're going to Haas.
Incorrect. Force India, if they hadn't have got their
Yeah.
points wiped at Hungary, would have been fifth.
No, it was Haas. Haas were the official 5th
Yeah,
place.
that's what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're all on the same page.
we do Haas next,
Okay.
not Force India, because we're not rating Force India. We're rating Racing Point Force India. I have
Are they going to be in this twice?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
There'll be a separate section at the end that says F1 teams that no longer exist.
I'm also
You know,
I'm also a
honest-
bit stumped with Force. Oh no! Oh, it's at the bottom. There we go. No, sorry, go on.
It says Stevenage on Hamilton.
There you go.
Is it-
Confirmed.
It's a lie.
Hertfordshire? Is that it?
Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire? I don't know.
It's not
looking on
the
his
Hobbit. There's
Wikipedia.
no Shire involved.
It says that he's born on 7th January 1985 in Stevenage, Hertfordshire, England.
I wonder where Tolkien got the Shire from. Literally every fucking county. Right, Haas then. Go on then, Fox. Favourite team. Okay.
No, wait.
you
I
lead
just
this
messaged
section.
Fox. I want him to say this word first. I messaged you on Discord.
Birmingham?
Yay!
What's-
Americans always butcher the Birmingham. I don't know why.
Well,
Because we have
yeah, I was
going
going
to
to say, let's not forget they have a Birmingham, so...
No, but
and we
it's
call it Birmingham. Birmingham.
It's Birmingham.
It's Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah, you lead this section.
Are we starting off with Haas as a team, or are we starting off with Magnussen?
Well, we'll start off with the way we have the whole way through, so it'll be the lead
Yeah,
to
we'll
driver.
start off with Magnussen. Well,
Magnussen.
Magnussen had like the greatest first half of a season out of like any driver on the grid. Seemed like every weekend he was best of the rest and mile away from the midfield battle almost. And then, obviously the second half he kind of tapered off, which was very sad. If he hadn't tapered off in the halfway point, I would have said like easily he would have been my driver of the season. And then of course Grosjean, first half of the season. Well, I guess we should finish.
What
up
are we
with
doing
Magnussen,
here?
sorry.
Yeah. Magnussen.
Finish up with
Yeah,
Magnussen.
I mean, he had some similar to Hulkenberg. He had some of those, probably more standout performances where he just disappeared. Some races where nothing happened to cause a gap. He was 20 seconds down the road from the rest of the midfield, which was stunning. But Haas had a very, very good car at the beginning of the season. And didn't capitalise it, obviously, most famously in Australia. But I remember how disappointed you were. But again, it was wildly inconsistent. Even the beginning of the season, you've got retired 5th, 10th, 13th, 6th, 13th, 13th, 6th. Not a huge amount of great results early on. But the thing that really set him apart from Grosjean was those single one-off performances when he did have a good weekend. He was miles away from anybody. So, yeah, a much-needed season from Magnussen, a driver that I've, to be fair, have almost written off after his McLaren and Renault days, but he's definitely shown some great promise. And, of course, he's always good for a meme or two, so long may it continue. Any thoughts on Magnussen, Rage?
I don't know.
On to the
To be honest
ratings. What would you give him, Fox?
First half season, I give him a 9. Second half of the season, I give him probably like a 6. So let's go with, I guess that's 7.5. Gosh darn it.
Oh, you didn't want to, but your own split numbers and an average of have forced you to use a half point.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I'd probably give him a 7.5 as well.
I don't really like him, so I'm gonna give him a 6.
Okay. Non-personal as always.
No. Okay. Also, some of his moves are questionable.
Yes.
Moving in the braking zones is unacceptable. Yeah, he might have driven quite well, and I think Magnussen may have taken out a few drivers, especially in Baku. Was it Magnussen or was it Ericsson? Who hit who? No, it was
Ericsson
Grosjean.
hit
We
us.
will get to that. Yeah.
I think Ericsson hit us. Oh, well, maybe it wasn't Magnussen.
Might be in one of the awards
know.
categories. We'll have to wait and see.
You never know. 6.
Okay.
6.
Yeah, one point I'd have to add quickly on Magnussen. Yeah, defense, aggressive driving. There's no place for it.
I've heard he's not got any friends in the paddock either. None of the drivers like him.
Do not believe
It's
you.
so like
You don't believe me?
you do believe.
You
do believe him,
sarcasm.
right? Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
mean-
I heard no one likes him.
At the same point,
Same as
like
Lewis.
oh, at the
Sorry,
same
carry
point. At
Sorry.
the same point.
Sorry. I'm terribly sorry.
Do we have to get a
No, do carry
do
on.
we have to get a virtual pen for you to hold? You may speak now.
No.
At the same time, the defensive driving from Magnussen is part of like one of the most exciting parts of the races. Sometimes, I mean, obviously it's terrible, but at the same time, it's kind of like the same thing with the whole Verstappen Ocon thing. It's like, oh wait, that's not acceptable, but like keep doing it because
It's only a
cool.
little bit of cheating.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Just a little bit of sportsmanship cheating. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, come on, suck my balls, mate. Right?
There we go. Can't really go anywhere from there. Roman Grosjean. You want to start on him, Fox?
Sure. Man, what a first half. Man, just
Sublime, wasn't it?
my goodness. Australia, I mean, they were running the points and then, retired because of the wheel nut issue and then did nothing good in Bahrain or China. Azerbaijan, classic. I think Ericsson hit us. Well, he didn't say that. His engineer said that. And then Spain.
The spin off Spain.
Yeah. One of the crashes of the season. And then, just didn't. Austria was like the turning point for him whenever he came in 4th, which that's the best result for the team. So, yeah, I mean, he really came back the second half of the season. Really impressive second half. It wasn't as impressive as Magnussen's first half, though. All around, though, I think if Grosjean had the first half or the second half of the season, the first part of the year, and had his first half the second part of the year, I think he would have been gone. I think his first half way outweighs his second half, but it's just timing wise that allowed him to kind of regain his composure and allowed the team to be like, okay, you can stay around. But that first half is like unforgivable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was always going to stay. I think both those two drivers were always going to stay. I mean, they are paying some of the lowest wages on the grid, I think, as far as I'm aware, to those two, because they both want to be in Formula 1 so desperately. I think that's valuable, super valuable to Haas at the moment, so I think they're always going to stay. As for Grosjean, I mean, the first half was fucking awful. Diabolical. I've never seen anything like it. It's so bad. But Romain Grosjean's one of these drivers. He has that brilliance in him, and Austria was stunning. And the points finish it. You know, if you're going to end your point scoring drought, that's the way to do it. And he definitely improved towards the end, but he's never going to be more than a good driver in my books. So yeah, what's been improved?
He's also not going to be a chef.
I don't know what that means.
Apparently, whenever he got kicked out of Renault, he went to go be a chef, but he was too old. So then he came back to he went to Formula 2 or GP2, and then came back to Formula 1.
Okay. I mean, this was what you've had.
Sorry, Roman, you cannot be a chef. You're too old.
Since 2008, you are about 23.
You do not know the ways of the real French chef.
French chef
I
started too.
I give him a 5. I wasn't very happy with him throughout the whole season. I thought he could have done it much better. I think he's coming to the end of his career. He's got to be careful.
He's never going to get this big drive, is he? But if he learns to get that consistency, I could see midfield teams take him for quite a while still.
He's running out of time massively. How old is he now? 28, 29?
He's in his 30s, isn't he?
He's like 33, I thought.
Yeah, he's
Let me see.
never going to get the
32.
Ferrari drive he wanted. That's why he moved to Haas, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was never going to happen, even
So,
when he said he was going to
yeah.
move to Haas.
He's got to be careful because there's a lot of upcoming whippersnappers, and Magnussen massively, I think, outperformed him. So, yeah, what did I say? 6.
Yeah, I'd give him. You know what? I'd give him a 5 because that beginning of the season was just diabolical.
It was awful.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to give him a 5. Cross it out, Fox. 5.
You answered 5 the first time, so I'd already crossed it out.
Well, 5. Cross that out. 6. Then cross that out, and 5 again. We'll finish it up with a 4. No.
Fox, I'm holding my score on my hands. Wrote that down.
Good. I was going to give him a 4, but since you guys give him 5s, I'll give him a 6.
Well,
That's the worst logic I've ever heard.
Only an American would come up with such hypocrisy.
I can't have the Brits outscoring me.
Exactly. He's part of my favorite team. I have to have the highest score given to him.
okay.
Great. Well, I'm glad you're at least doing it semi-realistically and not just going 10. That's good.
Yeah. Just wait until we get to the final score.
Yeah, I've set that up, haven't I? Haas as a team, I think they were.
Started off well.
Yeah, they hit the ground running massively, didn't they? Obviously, very disappointing in Australia, which I think has to dock them at least a point. That was diabolical. Both cars with wheel nut issues when they were on to get a huge amount of points. Benefiting greatly from this Ferrari partnership, and I'm so happy that a team, however they do it, have managed to come in F1 and be super competitive within this period of time and continue to be so. I think it's great news for the sport and gives me hope that we may well see a couple of teams on the back of the grid by 2021. I would hope so. I would probably have to give them a... They pitted off a bit towards the end, so I give them a 7.5.
6.
6. Goodness.
Disgusted.
6.
Oh, I'm gonna give him a 9.999. No, I'll give him an 8. They did really well this season. The massive improvement over last season. They made a big jump. They obviously had the mistake in Australia, and they had a few more mistakes down the line. But they're really coming into their own now, and I'm hoping with this new rich energy deal that they're going to continue that trend, and maybe more so with an extra 30 mil or whatever they were promising.
That'll buy him
so
an
we'll
engine
see.
and a half.
Don't pay for engines.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. They're a Ferrari. They're like Ferrari's development team. They don't pay for engines.
That Sauber was.
Yeah, they definitely do pay for engines. They're probably cheaper than some
They
other
don't
teams.
pay for engines.
Of course they do. What world are you living on, sir?
They didn't pay for engines.
What they don't pay for is all the bits Ferrari give them, like the suspension. Actually, they probably still have to pay them something. Let's be honest.
No, they. I think it's I don't know. Let me see if I can.
No, let's not. That's a rabbit hole.
I'll look it up. You can... All right, I won't look it up. fine.
Moving on, incredibly, to 6th place in the championship, McLaren. How did they finish 6th? I mean, it's well, we know why.
I think we'll get into that.
We know why, but the fact they finished 6th is a joke. I mean, they're probably never going to improve now because they were, we actually did all right this season.
We're the worst car we've made in a decade, but we finished.
Arguably the worst car on the grid. It was awful.
Fernando
Alonso, yeah. I mean, he was truly incredible at the beginning of the season.
Well, he's one of the greatest of all time. I was going to say one of the goatest of all times. One of the greatest of all time. So I don't know.
The
I'm just sad
goatiest
that
of
he's now
beat-em-ups.
the goatiest. It's just sad that he's not going to be there anymore.
Yeah, but do we really want to see him? I mean, just look at him at the end of the season. Do we really want to see that potentially next year for a whole season? No.
Yeah, I know, but the memes he brought us this year were just top draw.
Sorry, world-class sportsmen can't stay in it for the memes.
Well, I think they really should take a good hard look at themselves and stay on it just for the memes.
Okay. Well, I'll send a note to his agent. see if he'll reconsider.
Alonso, please come back. We need the memes.
But no, in all honesty, those first 5 races were incredible with that car. Because that McLaren car wasn't exactly any better than it was at the end of the year then. That was all Fernando.
Let's not forget the double puncture in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, that was...
Oh my god, yeah, he got a car back to the pits with a puncher. 2 punchers.
Yeah, and then finished 7th. I mean...
It was a crazy race, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was the only top 3 podium of the year, so...
As it was last year.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he was incredible to do what he did with the car. Just such a shame, really. The only thing I would mark him down for, and I probably will, was his attitude at times. He gets frustrated, of course he does, but he is very, very, very vocal about it. Let's be honest. I'd probably have to give him an 8.5 for this season.
9.
I will also give him a 9.
Okay.
That's going to be the lowest down in the whole ranking of drivers or teams that's going to get a 9. Maybe not, because Leclerc's coming up in a minute. But shut up, 9.
It's going to be the lowest ranking.
No, he's going to be the highest rank we're going to give a driver in the lowest team. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
sixth,
just said
then we're gonna-
lowest rank, which made no sense.
Shut
up! Okay.
I understood you rage the first
Oh,
time. I knew what you meant.
I'm sorry, they didn't teach me crazy at school.
Obviously, it was on the Americans' curriculum.
No comment.
It is. It is.
Under the Trump administration, it certainly is.
I think... it's never going to die, is it? I think we'll let you do the next one, Rage.
Why?
Who's up next?
I don't know.
Oh,
I haven't got this up. Do you think I'm?
what do you mean got this up?
Looking...
I mean, what?
Who's the other driver for
What are we
McLaren?
doing? Oh,
We're
God.
doing-
I'm not even. I'm not even looking. I'm just following up from what you're
What do you mean
saying.
looking?
I don't
Do you have
know.
ears?
Who have we got? Who is he? Is he Dutch? I don't know. Is he Belgian?
Kind
Just
of.
wanted an 8 out of you.
He's Belgian and 8. I can't even use the meme anymore. It's not fair. Because what was he on?
Yeah.
He's on 12, isn't he? Yeah, he's on 12.
God damn
I'm
Mexico.
actually gonna give Van Dorn a 12. Actually,
No, he's got to get an 8, surely.
God awful. I think he's going to get one of the lowest scores out of all of ours.
why
He
don't we
was
discuss it?
awful. Oh, jeez. I don't even know how to discuss. It was the wrong... like, literally, it's the epitome of wrong place, wrong time. Because I think he would have been a good driver. Like, he's won the GP2 championship. And he was hailed as one of the first of the new breed to be, brought through and, he's meant to be the wonder kid. I don't know. Oh, I don't know what to say.
He's
3.
had... Well, he's had such a hard time of it. It's the only thing I will say. That
Has he?
car is pig awful. There's been so much pressure on that team and anybody that drives for it, and he's had a teammate perhaps in the form of their life. All his points finishes came during Fernando Alonso's run at the beginning of the season, so when the car was potentially stronger. But yeah, he
Mexico.
really... Well, obviously, okay, apart from Mexico. I mean, there were like 12 races in between that where he didn't get a single point. But yeah, I can't ignore the huge gap between Alonso. I'd expect him to get beaten by him, but he was demolished. So yeah, I'd give him a 5.
Wow. Okay. Rage.
I've already said I
Ray's
gave
done
him a-
his, so
gave
it's
him a
over
3.
you, Fox.
What did he say?
3.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Sorry.
I'm gonna go with, I guess, right in the middle. 4. Not an impressive year, that's for sure.
No,
And his only year. Oh dear.
it's his second year.
No, but it's good. Shut up. He's not going to be there anymore. There's no more. There's no more
His
to be
last
had.
year is what I think you meant.
Was it his second year?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
sure?
Yes.
Who who was before him? It was Button, wasn't it?
Don't know, never heard of him.
Technically, technically it was his 3rd year if you count his one race in 2016 at Bahrain.
Well, we don't, because he cheated his way to a Oh, that was Magnussen, don't worry. I won't get salty about that. Okay, and McLaren as a whole.
Oh Jesus, that's tricky.
I mean, I'll go straight in there and go... I think there's only one team that's worse than him, so I'll give him a 2.
Do I want to give? But Alonso bumps it up a little bit.
We're going... Well, it depends how you're looking at this team thing. I look at it as team. Not the
They
driver.
did finish 6th.
Because of Alonso.
Well, arguably it's because the team got him there, and he did a little bit of driving as well.
I mean, you're welcome
4.
to give your own rating. Okay, 4.
4. Yeah, I'll give him a 4.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of started out strong. There's a lot of hope there. I honestly was hoping that they were going to be Red Bull, like straight on pace with Red Bull. That didn't happen. So I'm gonna go with a solid 2. I'm gonna agree with Jay. They're pretty bad.
Yeah, they were a pile of steaming. You know what. Right, next in the standings, but not technically, but let's not go into that again. Force India, and we will start with their leading driver for the season, Sergio Perez. Yeah, in a season where everybody praised Ocon last year, a season following, I feel Perez has done enough to answer that critic. He's shown that.
I agree.
I
said I agree.
Oh, good. Even above your driver of 2017, Esteban Ocon.
He did very well.
He did. Yeah, I think he was super consistent again. Showed great pace. Obviously, the only again, anytime a podium shows itself to the midfield, it's always that man there, and I think that's a rare talent.
Or Lance Stroll. Let's not forget Lance Stroll.
I try to forget him as often as possible. Unfortunately, that's not going to be able to next year. But you know what I mean. He's the one that consistently sniffs out those positions, and that is shows. I mean, it shows the talents of a winner. But he's, you know, he when he had his chance at McLaren, he was awful. So I never know with him.
But so were McLaren.
Yeah.
They weren't awful that year though.
They were.
They're awful this year.
No, but they were pretty bad that year.
I mean, they've been pretty bad for a while. Let's be fair. In the range of awfulness, that was probably their best year. Yeah, very consistent, very quick on certain weekends, and did well to outscore Ocon. I'd give him a solid.
Okay. We know Jamie really likes Perez. A solid. Oh.
I hope that's all you need, Your Honour. I would. I'm split between. I give him a 7. I'll be generous.
Fucking hell, that was hard. 6.5.
6.5. Okay. I would go with 7. I was thinking not on par with Hulkenberg. I think he was a good best of the rest candidate, but he did not obviously finish best of the rest. Close, right behind, but yeah. Showed some brilliance, obviously, Azerbaijan, but yeah, 7.
Okay, Esteban Ocon. Had a lot of retirements this year, which I guess figures into it, but...
and then the incident.
Yes, the incident.
Mexico.
Brazil.
Oh,
Brazil,
sorry. Yeah.
I was getting very confused there. Well, yeah, we can chat about that one until the cows come home. But maybe wait for the award section for that. Yeah, I think he was quick. He's consistent. You know, I think there's a few results in it between him and Perez. I don't think he's absolutely lost his edge like a lot of people said, but Perez did outrace him, I guess, overall this year. So based on that, I would say it's very close, but I give him a 6.5.
I don't think he did as well as he could have done this year. 6. We'll give him a 6.
I will also give him a 6.
Okay, and Force India Racing Point.
I think they did really well to come back from where they did.
Yeah.
So I think that as a team they did well, and they worked well together, you know, as a team to get those points in. So yeah. I think for that, getting back where they needed to be, I'm going to give them a 7.5.
Okay, I'd say they were they're very strong again. They've lost their crown and their title. If you count the beginning of the season points, which I would overall, they've lost their title. That ever since they've come into Formula One, they've always finished equal or better in the constructors to every year before it, which was a staggering record. They've lost that this year to Renault, but I think again you have to go back to this subject of budget. On the budget they have had, that is still incredible to come within 10 points of Renault. The budget they've had, so I'd still say it was a very strong season for them. I'd give them an 8.
Yeah, I feel like Racing Point Force India really showed the full potential of Force India, because I mean, as soon as they took over the team, I don't know if that was upgrades coming in or whatever, they did really well at Spa. I don't know if that was just coincidence. But yeah, I feel like Racing Point was what Force India could have been the entire season had they had that money to ship parts or whatever the issue was.
Yeah, I think that's the only effect it had was shipping parts. It's difficult with that. Italy and Belgium are tracks that the Mercedes engine has done very well at in the past, so it's difficult to judge that. But sorry, Karen.
Yeah, I'd give them an 8 as well. I feel like they did about as well as Haas. If you do total points, I guess they did better, but. Mm.
But Hess are cool. I'm American. I like Hess. Okay. Right, on to Sauber. And the man, the myth, the legend, the now Ferrari driver, still cannot believe that. Charles Leclerc. I mean, he may only be 13th in the standings, but that shows none of the picture of his season. He was just staggering. I mean, considering that car, I mean, Sauber made improvements this year, but to get the points finishes that he got, and to have races like Magnussen and Hulkenberg where he just checked out from the midfield in a Sauber, I just couldn't believe it at times. I knew this kid was good, but I still don't even remember these kind of performances from Verstappen in the Toro Rosso. In the last 3 races, 7th, 7th, 7th. Yeah, incredible. Star of the future. Any thoughts on Mr. Leclerc?
I think it was quite staggering to see where he was. Like, you'd be watching the race and you'd just be like, oh, cool, yeah. So there's Hamilton, Vettel, Raikkonen, Bottas, Leclerc. It's like, what the fuck? Well, how did he get there? It's like Alonso-esque performances every week. I don't ever see him having a bad week. He's always doing so well. I can't wait until next year. It's going to be so good. Yeah.
We hope.
Massive star of the future. I just can't see anything going wrong for this boy. He's going to be he's the golden child. I saw a really good meme on Facebook where Lewis Hamilton said, can't wait to be racing against Ferrari, racing against whatever his fucking name is, Leclerc next year at Ferrari. And then someone else put a picture of that tweet, and then a second picture, Lewis Hamilton is now following Charles Leclerc just now, and then it says, keep your friends closer and your enemies closer. I thought it was really cool because it's like almost like, well, you're off my radar now, Vettel, and now I'm looking pretty much just at you, Mr. Leclerc.
He's the ultimate French villain, isn't he?
Monegasque villain, I have you know.
He's basically French.
He's definitely not French.
No, I'm not. All right, just doing it for the villain joke. Never mind. Yeah, I mean, it's still, let's not forget, it's going to be a huge challenge for him. There's a big difference between doing some great midfield performances for someone like Sauber and stepping in next to a full-time world champion at Ferrari. It's going to be pretty tricky, but yeah, there's a massive amount of talent there, and despite the improvements Sauber made, you know, that car was still nowhere near worthy of most of the results he got out of it. So yeah, huge star. Thoughts on Leclerc, Fox?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think he was fantastic this season. I think it's going to be fantastic next year. But I think he really got flattered by an improving Sauber. Because, like, last season, Sauber was horrible. They were, like, 2 laps down every race. So, like, people bringing in that expectation of Sauber being terrible, being 2 laps down, and then having Leclerc finish in the points pretty consistently it just kind of helped build his like legend almost of being this amazing driver. I mean, obviously he is an amazing driver, but I feel like that just bolstered it even more.
Yeah, Sauber made a huge step this year. Make no mistake about it. When you have Marcus Ericsson scoring some points, so something has changed.
Did he actually score points?
Ericsson, he scored 9 of them.
Fucking hell.
9!
I'm surprised he wasn't the meme. No, Rage just doesn't give Ericsson the time of the day. Okay, well, I'll do it. 10 for me, for Leclerc.
Whoa, it's the second 10 he's just out. 9! Can't be better than Hamilton.
I think he was.
What was your score for Hamilton, Rage?
9.5?
No, 9.5, okay. I wrote down 9. Anyways,
It might have been
yeah.
9. It might have been 9.
It's probably 9.5. I wasn't ready to write it down whenever you said it. So yeah, I think Leclerc would be a 10 for me, but that beginning half of mistakes, and then obviously like some mistakes in Japan. I mean, I guess they were saying that was like a good thing that he was like fighting so hard. But
I would say Japan was Magnussen's fault.
No, I'm talking about like just barging through like a bunch of different things, just like hitting other people's cars, and I mean like wheel to wheel sort of things, like good passing, but certainly like yeah, like it's good things, but there's definitely some things that he can improve. So I want to give him an 8 this season because he has a lot to grow from. Because like if I give him a 10 this season, I'm gonna give him a 13 next season. Like
You're giving him room to breathe.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is not peak Leclerc yet.
Well, no, you may well be right. But for a rookie season, it's pretty damn good, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. If we're going off of he's definitely the best newcomer, but that's between him and Sirotkin. So
Yeah. Okay. We all know winning. That's probably why I didn't put it in as a category in the award show. Okay. And Sauber as a whole, definitely much improved, didn't they? I think they're benefiting from this shared Ferrari tech that Haas are getting as well. It has to be said, but they do seem much more professional outfit. They got money behind them. Alfa Romeo sponsorship's done them well, so they're definitely moving in the right direction. I'd probably have to give Sauber a 7.5.
I love how you asked me what I'm going to give them. Just leave it completely blank and expect me to answer.
I mean, look, if you cannot work out that after I give my rating for the team, it has to be one of you two, God help us.
Oh, I think they did really well this year. 7.5.
goodness.
I think they had a really good car, thanks to Ferrari.
Yeah.
I guess I too will give him a 7.5. Give my second half point. This entire
You're just trying to make him even overall, aren't you?
He just wants an easy ride.
No, I think that's a pretty accurate. I was gonna go 7 or 8, and so 7.5 is right in between.
And it's quick maths.
Quick.
Right.
Well, wait, we didn't do Ericsson, did we?
Oh god. Does that say all you need to say about Marcus Ericsson?
we missed out Marcus Ericsson completely. Let's not even talk about his performance this year and just give him a rating.
I think he was improved.
Really?
Yeah, he was definitely improved. Some good points finishes towards the end, but a lot of it.
Well, I'm gonna just go out and say 2.
I'd give
right.
Ericsson a solid 6.
Well, 6. All right. Yeah, I think he did really well. I'm excited to see him in the car next. I'll give him a 5.
Okay. Right, moving on to Toro Rosso then. We will start with the start of the Toro Rosso season, Pierre Gasly. Some incredible results throughout that season, but again hampered by a car that wasn't quite there. But definitely, I think, did enough to earn his place at Red Bull, and again, can be very exciting next year. I think he did really well, and his drive at Bahrain especially was incredible. Anything to add on Gasly?
Yeah, I think he's gonna.
Yay!
Yeah. I think he's gonna be a real star next year. We'll see how he stacks up to Verstappen.
Yeah, it's going to be
interesting.
Very interesting.
Of course, there's been rumors about Vettel return to Red Bull, apparently. So I don't know who's going to be kicked out for Vettel to come back, but
that's for another.
You think Vettel's gonna come back?
Huh?
You think Vettel's gonna go back?
I don't think he is, but media does. Some media people do, apparently.
I think it's them putting 2 and 2 together, isn't it? I think there's no truth to any desire from him to go back, but you could see him falling out with Ferrari in the next couple of years, and it would be a logical place for him to go. But whether that happens is another big step.
I thought Gasly
I-
did all right.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he did,
Yeah, Gasly did really.
he did really well. I'd give him an 8.
I'll give him an 8 as well. Yeah.
There's some whiny points in the season, so I'll give him a 7.
Okay, no, fair enough.
Is there fire?
No, 5. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm calm now. I just want the personality. Brendan Hartley.
Do we need to discuss this man?
I mean, I feel for him. I really do.
Yeah.
It's such a bizarre situation in me being given this chance so late in his career after such an incredible career in Le Mans and LMP1. But at the same time, that's hurt him, isn't it? Coming in so late, and he's really not stacked up anywhere near Gasly, and I think it's, obvious why he's not in the car next year. Not a great season.
It's awful. Fucking 3. I'm not even going to
4.
discuss it. Not even going to give him pros and cons.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about his point total. His point total was 4.
Accidental meme.
What was your
Rage was a 4. I'd probably have to give him
3?
Oh, 3. Sorry. I would probably give him a 4.
4. Yeah. There's definitely I had high hopes for Hartley coming in. I rated him as like nearly the best of the rest. In my predictions for the 2018 season.
Wow.
So obviously, I can tell you exactly how high I rated him. He was right behind Magnussen, Grosjean, 9th or 10th. So yeah, I had high hopes for him. But yeah, obviously those did not pan out. I don't think he's as bad as a 4 though. I'm gonna go 5 just because I think he's done a lot for that team. I think he has done a lot for that car, and I just don't think it was shown on the track as much as it could have been.
I think the Honda mechanics are very complimentary of his feedback.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the instrumental drivers in that Porsche LMP1 project. Let's not forget. So yeah, his feedback would have been invaluable, and perhaps why he was kept on. But yeah, at the same time, he's not quite good enough for Formula One at this age. If he'd been given his chance earlier on, who knows? But
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, pretty disappointing. But he's gonna have a career. I'm sure he'll get fit straight back into LMP1 or somewhere. So let's not feel too sorry for him.
Yeah.
Right, Toro Rosso as a whole, I was a little disappointed with them overall. Obviously, it was a big risk going to Honda and the first year integrating them, and there were big improvements made from the Honda. But from all the stats of that Honda engine, they never really made pay what they had. But at the same time, a huge amount of their points total is, nearly all of it is Gasly. So you put a Gasly or a Sainz or someone in that car next to them, they could well have finished above Force India. So it's difficult, isn't it? I think they were improved this year though, and brave them to go with Honda. Well, I'm sure they were forced into it by Red Bull, but still a good showing for them. I'd probably give them a 6.
I would also, yeah, I think so. They were the benchmark, weren't they? The guinea pig, so they couldn't really do much more than just run with it. And their car still is one of the best looking cars on the grid, so let's go with the 6 as well.
I was actually going to go to 6 before you guys said anything.
Oh, very convenient.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, I think they were above average and did a good job with that Honda engine, so I think that's fair. Oh, Williams. A painful one. I guess if we have to, we'll start with Lance Stroll.
I don't know. Maybe we can just skip over him like we did with.
Ericsson. Can we skip over? And I think last year me and Rage left out Williams altogether by mistake.
What?
Actually, I think that
Yeah, you
was
guys.
preview.
That was for testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, preseason testing. You completely forgot about it.
Just completely ignored them.
It's the best thing to do. Just let them down gently.
Oh god, it's so painful. Williams, one of my favourite teams. I've been for a tour of their factory. A big fan of them through the ages, but it's so painful to see them like this, and it's so difficult to rate those two drivers because of it. I think Stroll, there is some genuine talent there, and he's never really had the car, and next year he's going to, so it's a huge year for him next year. And you know, he scored 600% more than Sorokin. 500% more. So you got to give him that, I guess. Four and a half. Any views on Stroll and a rating from you two?
I really don't like him.
Okay.
We can't be biased here.
No, it factors into it. It does.
I just despise the whole "Daddy got me here" thing with Stroll, and he wasn't that good. Is he that good? Does he deserve to be there? There's so many up and coming drivers these days. Do we need a Stroll?
We'll find out next year.
Well, we won't, because he'll be absolutely smashed by Perez. So for that reason, I'll give him a 3.
That would constitute us finding out next year.
3.
Okay, Fox.
3. Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's the podium last season. Was that a fluke? I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of talent there. I mean, he wasn't a slouch in GP2 or no. Formula 3. He wasn't in GP2. So, I mean, there is talent there. I mean, obviously, there's no way he could have showed it this season. But, 4. Just
Okay, let's get through Williams as quickly as we can, shall we? This is painful for everyone, I feel. Yeah, I know. There's talent there. We've never really got a chance to see it. So, we'll see. Nobody gets here by luck at this point. There's got to be some talent there. Talking of barely talent, Sergei Sorokin.
I saw some news recently that he was hopeful for his his Formula One hopes. And I was just like, really? What kind of news are you reading?
He just bought an Xbox or something. I mean,
Oh, just put the whiskey down or the vodka. Put the vodka down, please, Mr. Sorokin. He was god awful, wasn't he? He was holding up the grid through most of the last couple of races because the strategy was just awful, whether it was his call or not.
He was really fun to watch the last couple of races.
He was. He got a lot of screen time.
It was great because he was just holding up the leaders.
But that was because he was on like 25-year-old lap-old tires or whatever.
25-year-old tires.
25-year-old tires. Can you
They
imagine
just strapped the
them going,
mechanics onto the wheel.
Literally, the screams of terror as he rocketed past the pit.
No, they actually just lifted up the car and ran. It was quicker.
pretty much.
It would have been quicker.
Yeah, Flintstone's car. Yeah, I'd have to agree with everything said. He was god awful, unfortunately.
He's going to get the same score in my book, I think.
He couldn't qualify. He couldn't race. He was terrible in tyre management.
No,
he was bad in.
He qualified 12-8 versus Lance Stroll. He beat Lance Stroll out for qualifying.
I didn't say that Stroll was
Damn you
terrible at qualifying. Okay, well, he can kind of qualify. He's terrible in races. He can't look after his tyres at all. His race management was all piss poor. The amount of races this season is like, Sorokkin's come in again. He's abandoned that strategy. It's like every other race. It's so difficult, I know, in a sport that's at the pinnacle like Formula One is, to be in a team that far off the pace like he was, but still he just did not stack up anywhere near Lance Stroll, and I think we're all agreed Lance Stroll's not even very special a driver, so
Nope.
without a doubt gets my lowest rating, a 1.
Whoa. I said 3 a minute ago, so I'm just going to stick with it.
I too am going to go with 3. Feel like he's not quite up to the Stroll, but he definitely did well in qualifying against him. Not against anyone else, but he didn't really have a chance against anyone else.
Okay. And there we have it. There is our walkthrough of the 2018 season.
Williams.
Oh,
Forgot to give Williams.
3.
Again.
3.
3, okay.
3 as well. Yeah.
3.
No, actually
I'll go
2.
4.
Fuck it, 2.
All right, 2. Cool. I went 4. All right.
Okay. So, yep, that has been the 2018 wrap-up of the Drivers and Teams Championship. So,
Would you like to hear our combined winner and loser of each category?
sure.
Drivers and
Go
constructors?
ahead.
Our combined winner is Hamilton, obviously, with 29.5. And our
Whoa.
combined loser is Sorokin at 7. Our combined
through
winner
it all.
for team is tied, Red Bull and Mercedes.
Oh, wow.
And loser is McLaren.
Okay. That's interesting.
Go for it. Have you got down like
How is
literally-
McLaren our combined loser?
Because we both gave him a 2 and Rage
Yeah.
gave them a 4. Say
You,
him
you
like...
scored McLaren really badly.
Did I give McLaren a 2? I'm so
Yes.
sorry, McLaren. See, this is what I mean when they get combined.
Would you like to
No,
alter your
no,
score?
the numbers don't.
No, you can't check. It's locked
Numbers
in.
don't lie.
We have a lock noise. Crunch.
Numbers don't lie. I would say Williams were by far the worst team, but the scores don't lie.
Have you got a 1 to 20?
Oh God.
Don't know if Google Docs.
Let's add
Oh, don't
let's add-
worry. Don't
let's add
worry.
10 minutes to this podcast.
No. It's fine. Those facts were good enough.
Okay.
I'll figure it out while we go through the awards.
Yeah, stick it in your spreadsheet, and I'm going to put that in the description of this anyway. All your
Are we now coming
spreadsheets.
up to the coveted awards?
We are coming up to
I
the
think so.
coveted awards, the Formula Fun Podcasts Awards 2018.